We're here.
I wish I could give you this feeling. I wish I could give you this feeling. On the corner.
What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Corner Podcast. Kel Dansby here. Oh, man, Andreas and Kel.
Yep.
And the world champion. The belt's not in here. Belt's out there. Bianca Belair is in Blue Wire Studios joining us. Thank you so much taking time out, joining us. I'm going to try to not give like my usual hot takes so I don't have to take a whip from the braid. So I'm going to be on my best behavior today. But no, thank you so much. Busy weekend. Money in the Bank here in Vegas. So far, I know you've only been here for a couple days because your wild schedule.
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling being here, being just prominently placed on this card, coming in as a champion, and really being, in my opinion, the featured solo match of the card? Because, I mean, that's real. Like, let's be, Roman's not on this. Like, you are, like, the next champion up. How do you feel really being in that position?
I'm just excited. I'm excited to be back in Vegas and be here for Money in the Bank. I don't know if a lot of people realize it, but it's my first Money in the Bank. I didn't get to do Money in the Bank last year. So it's my first time being on Money in the Bank, and it's really cool to be like one of the prominent singles matches and being one of the prominent title matches, and being a woman. And it's really cool for it now to becoming the norm, where we are like one of the most talked about matches of the live pay-per-view. So I'm excited. I'm excited to be here and show up and show out in Money in the Bank.
Forget wrestling for a second. First of all, there's a couple things. One, Bianca, you supported Our Heroes Rock. I appreciate you. We appreciate you. You've done so much that we've appreciated just in general, right? But what I want to talk about is the Black Wrestling Podcast at the top 50 wrestlers, Black wrestlers. You ended up being number one, and they asked me to write it.
Yeah.
And it felt really good to write about you. I don't know if you got a chance to read it.
I did.
No.
I did read it.
Okay. Was it all right?
It was amazing. Listen, I loved it. Like, thank you so much. Just reading it and reading all the kind words and reading all of, it's just like validation that what I'm trying to represent, what I'm trying to do, that I'm doing it the right way and it's coming across the right way. And, I just want to inspire people. And it's just, it's amazing. It's an honor to be in that position and to have someone like you write about me and say those words about me. So I really appreciate it. I really enjoyed the article.
Okay.
Yes.
So what I wanted to ask about this, not only you're the number one, not women's wrestler, you're the number one Black wrestler. And it's not to put Black wrestlers up against each other, but the fact remains you had such an astounding year. I want to rewind a little bit. There was a time when you were in NXT where you couldn't get over the hump with Shayna Baszler.
Yeah.
And for a lot of us, we all rooted you on. And I've been at the takeovers where it didn't work out. Was there a moment in time where you were like, do they believe in me? Like, is it gonna work out? Did you ever question yourself?
I did. I go out there and I talk about being the EST of WWE, and that's where I started in NXT. And I felt like that was my home. And I felt like there I was constantly trying to prove that I belonged there and that I was made to do this and I was born to do this. So, going after the NXT title, it was so much, I placed so much validation with that title. And it was so many times when I thought, okay, this is my time. This is my time. And it never happened. Right. And what was even harder for me is that my parents were at the shows. It was they were brand new to it as well. And I remember just seeing videos of my daddy like cheering and then I would lose and he would just kind of like, I could see it in his face. So I was like, man, I want to prove and show that I'm worthy and that I'm good and that I'm capable of being the face of NXT and being the champion. And so it was like a little shot to my self-esteem every time. But, now looking back, I see that I was there during the reign of Shayna Baszler. Mm-hmm. And she had an amazing title reign. And I feel like I was a part of that title reign. And we all made that title reign amazing with Shayna. So I have to look at it that way. And, but I left NXT still wanting to always be NXT Women's Champion. But then I fast forward, moved on and got to win the Royal Rumble and main event WrestleMania, become SmackDown Women's Champion, now Raw Women's Champion. Now looking back, I say like, okay, now it all makes sense. And everything happens for a reason.
It's crazy. Everything happens for a reason.
It does.
Before we get into the whole wrestling aspect of things, you mentioned your father.
Yeah.
And he's at these events but they show in your promo packages. I remember it from NXT where you're running track, doing CrossFit. Your dad's in a lot of those videos.
All of them.
Like watching you.
Yeah.
He's always, I'm assuming, supported you. What is that like? Just coming to all of your events, whether it's track, CrossFit, now wrestling. How is it like just that bond between you guys and then him being so supportive?
I mean, I've always been a daddy's girl. Like my family, I always say I have like the GOAT family. Like I got like I mean, they're just top tier. I couldn't be any more blessed. My parents have always supported me ever since I was a kid. I can't think, I started playing sports at the age of 5. I started doing gymnastics and running track at 5. And I can't think of one sporting event where they were not there. And whether it was track or whether it was basketball, cheerleading, or me trying my hand in soccer at one point in time, and fast forward to CrossFit when, I'm now WWE where I'm a grown woman, it doesn't matter. Like I'm still their baby and that's how they see it. And they've supported me just as much now as an adult as it was when I was a kid. But I think that has a lot to do with my success now, just having a parent that just pours so much love and support into their kid and just let me know that like it was okay to go and strive for your goals and they were going to be there whether I succeeded or whether I failed. So I was never afraid to try. Like I wasn't afraid to try, thinking like, what if I failed? It doesn't matter. My parents are going to be there supporting me, whether I get first place or last place. Like I remember in college, I was running SECs at indoor nationals in Arkansas, and my parents drove 10 hours to Arkansas, and I fell over the first hurdle.
Oh shit!
And I just remember thinking, wow, they drove 10 hours, and I didn't even. I ran 1 second. And they were okay. Of course they wanted me to do good, but they were okay and they didn't make me feel bad. So just having that support from them, it just boosts my confidence as a child and it's carried over now into WWE with me being the EST of WWE.
Look, Black Jubilation is something else, right? How our parents support us, how our family support us. There's a lot of videos of you being emotional, your family being emotional. Kofi wins the title, Black people are emotional. WrestleMania 37, you win before that match. You were overcome with emotion.
Yeah.
Did you try to keep that emotion? Did you know that was going to happen or did that creep up on you?
No, I didn't necessarily know that was going to happen. What I will say is that when you have these big moments and you go to like WrestleMania, a lot of the advice that you get from people that have been there before, they always tell you just slow down and soak it in because it goes by so fast. So I know that we wanted to take that moment in the beginning to just soak it in. We were main eventing WrestleMania. Crazy. And we had just found out the day before. We had our fans back for the first time in over a year because of the pandemic. And we were just making history. And so we just wanted to just slow down and soak in that moment. And so I was planning on just soaking in that moment, but I never intended to be in tears in the ring. Like when you think about being in the ring at WrestleMania in main eventing and you're going after the title, you don't want to cry, especially across from your opponent. You don't want to show weakness, but I just couldn't contain it. I was trying my hardest. It's a picture of me with like this like ugly expression of like almost shoulder shaking crying, but that was just true emotion coming out of just how much that moment meant to me and to the world. And I'm like, my underarms are sweating now thinking about it. I just get nervous every time I think about it. So I wasn't planning on that on crying, but it's just, I was overwhelmed.
What was it because obviously it's your moment, but I think you also recognize it was everyone's moment.
It was everyone's moment.
Because I know like prior to that, I interviewed you and talked about the possibility of headlining WrestleMania. And you were like, wow, that's just, and then it happens. And then I was sitting there, I know I'm watching it at home, and I was emotional. And I was like, yo, this isn't supposed to be happening. Seeing you, I don't know if you were at first thought you would be embarrassed, but it was such an endearing human moment. We don't get a lot of those in pro wrestling because everybody's trying to keep the face.
Yeah.
But I think that was a moment that I think we've all embraced since. How was the response to that?
The response, I mean, I wasn't embarrassed. Like I'm someone who I feel like all your emotions, you're allowed to feel what you want to feel and you shouldn't be embarrassed about that. But, because for me, especially I wasn't embarrassed because that moment meant so much to me, like you said, and to everyone. And that's just what it is. Like, I think everybody and their mama was crying in that moment. Right. But, the reception after that was out, a lot of people were saying that they were in tears just watching. And that's what I want to do. I want to go into the ring, and I want to be remembered for my title reigns and for being champion and for being an amazing WWE superstar. But more so, like, I want to make people feel something. I want them to feel a part of what I do. I don't want them to feel like they're just a spectator. I want, like, when you see me, you see you. Like, even being the EST or WWE, if you're a fan of me, I just want you to know that means that you're a fan of yourself. I'm just the inspiration. Like, I think, I heard Kanye do an interview saying like the same thing. And I was like, that's what I feel. Like, I want people to feel like they're a part of this. And I think in that moment, everybody felt like they were a part of that, and they knew how big that moment was. And they got the feelings. They got the tears just like me.
So I know you're the track star, right? But your husband hit a 40-yard dash down this ramp when you won. It's the fastest I've seen a man run to the ring. Like, he was there in a blink to celebrate and bask in your success. Yeah. How important is that? Like, that love is love. Like,
telling you, black emotion is different. It's different.
Love. I'm not sure it took him more than 3 steps to get from the top of the ramp to the ring. He was flying.
I mean, those arms were pumping. If you look, and they were tight too. They weren't like they were like, arms were pumping, tight pumping. But no, I was in the ring. I remember hearing the crowd like go even crazier. I'm like, oh, okay, they're really excited. And I turned around. All of a sudden, he's just sliding the ring. And no, it was cool to be able to celebrate that moment with him. Especially because that WrestleMania, he didn't get to have a WrestleMania match, and I did. And what I loved about that was he was a husband before anything, and everyone wants to have a WrestleMania match. And you would have never known that he didn't get to have his WrestleMania moment because that's how much he was supporting me. So to be able to go out there and celebrate with him in the ring, and then have my family there, and just be able to have a husband that supports me and loves me, and especially like being a successful woman in the business that she's in, I think that's very special. And sometimes maybe hard to come across, but he loves me for who I am and everything I represent. And I just want to celebrate all of my amazing moments with him.
That's incredible. So we fast forward to this WrestleMania, and you're basically in the main event again, Becky. But the entrance, HBCU band,
yes,
which is so black. Look, we use unapologetically black a lot, and it gets worn out. But that was a moment that I was like, oh my God, that entrance is incredible. How long have you been thinking about that entrance?
I have been thinking about that entrance ever since NXT.
Really?
Honestly. And I've been trying to find the right moment for it. And it's different. It was other times where, I was wanting it to happen. And I feel like it just happened at the perfect time for this WrestleMania. And we were in Texas. And so everything just happened at the same time. But I've been wanting to do it for a while. And, I wrote it all up, and I made, this presentation of like HBCU, the significance of it and what it means, and, the drum majors and the vibe and the cultural significance of it. And, I'm like, I'm unapologetically me. And how can I show up on the grandest stage of them all at WrestleMania and just be unapologetically me? And that was bringing on the HBCU band. And, in high school, my high school mimicked the style of the HBCU band. So that's like nostalgia for me, and it's a cultural significance for me, and especially, just going out there. And I always want to just make it more than just being about me. So bringing awareness to HBCUs and how, keeping HBCUs alive and keeping the funding there and keeping the awareness there and having people go. I never got to experience going to HBCU, right, which I would have loved. But I just wanted to show up on the grandest stage of them all, being my full self and presenting my full self. And I was able to do that with the HBCU band and vibe out with them. And they showed up and showed out and made a statement.
Let me follow up with that, because your first WrestleMania, you never know when your next WrestleMania moment is going to be. Was there any thought of you doing that at 37?
It was. It just did. It wasn't able to happen at that WrestleMania. And so we made it happen at the next WrestleMania. But it was definitely a thought for 37. And it would have been a huge significance there. But I think I like how it actually played out, because 37, the focus was already there with 2 Black women main eventing, and the significance was there, and that was unprecedented, never happened. And then fast forward to next year, I was able to still shine light on being unapologetically me and still bring something else to the table. So they each individually got their own shine, I think.
We would have over-blacked it at 37. Which is okay. I'm just saying, like,
Would have been a Hillman.
right. It would have been a different world up there.
It would.
All right. And again, I understand if you've been working that long on these entrances, what's next?
Listen, I always
That means
got to
the
try
wheels
to
are
top
turning.
it. Yes, I'm already thinking about it. So, we have to see what happens next year for WrestleMania. It's going to be in Hollywood. It's going to be big. And I feel like I've already built this reputation now of maybe being Miss WrestleMania, winning back-to-back. And so it's like, well, okay, am I going to be in WrestleMania next year? I have to try to get there. I have to try to live up to that reputation first before anything. And to top that off, now I got to try to bring a better entrance. So I'm brainstorming. So I feel like I always try to come through. So we'll have to see if I come through with this one.
So you've had an interesting year. Like, everybody's talked about your run and how incredible it's been. But you've had this strange thing that has nothing to do with you. But it seems like every time you get in a feud, somebody gets hurt.
Yep.
And I don't think people appreciate how much you've had to adjust on the fly.
Yeah.
I don't think there's been another champion that's had to deal with so many changes at the last minute. Can you kind of talk, because that's something that I don't think you get enough credit for. And you've had to deal with it. And how much have you paid attention on social media? Like, you're supposed to be working Rhea this weekend, and that's not happening. You and Bailey had this program, and then there was at SummerSlam, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a second. It's like it always changes.
Yeah.
But I know you've been happy with everything how it's turned out, but how difficult has it been to deal with those changes?
No, it's difficult, and it gets frustrating for me sometimes. I felt like even with my SmackDown title reign, I felt like I wasn't able to live up to the full potential of SmackDown Women's Champion, just with how short the reign was, and also with my title, with my feuds. With Bailey getting injured, which I can't wait for Bailey to come back. But with Bailey getting injured and having to step in, and then Carmella then having to step in at SummerSlam, and I feel like not being able to have these amazing matches that I could have had in my title reign, and being able to go up against really, really great other great competitors to prove that I'm a champion, and then it getting cut short. And fast forward, now it's like deja vu. It's happening all over again. My competitors I'm supposed to have, I'm not having. So it gets frustrating, but I think that I just try to look at it as I have to adapt, and it's making me a better competitor. It's making me stay on my toes. And it shows that, I want to show that I'm always going to be there and be dependable and be able to show up and show out and be the common denominator of whatever big moments happen. Like, no matter if somebody else can't show up, Bianca Belair is going to be there. Bianca Belair is going to be in the mix of the big moments and be talked about. And that's really my main goal, is to be a part of big moments and always be available so that my name can always stay in the conversation. And anytime, they want a big match, or anytime they want a big moment, Bianca Belair's name comes up in the conversation, because they know that I'm going to come through and show up and show out.
All big moments aren't happy moments.
They aren't.
They aren't all great moments. SummerSlam last year. I'm sitting next to this man. We're excited. Yeah. We're like, okay, it's Carmella. Cool. The music hits. We're like, Bianca's about to go in there, show out. It's gonna be quick work. And and then we're gonna be excited. Becky music hits, the man is back. Huge pop. Mm-hmm. Crowd goes nuts. Cool. She had left as one of the biggest baby faces. Great stare down. All right, Carmella's out. Becky's in there. About 36 seconds later, the match is over. Mm-hmm. What was that like, just emotionally, like that 24-hour period for you? And then how do you flip the switch again, where you're like, well, I got to climb from the bottom all the way back up and get back to the spot? Because the internet's a weird place. And they're just like, she's buried. It's like, no, she just got to climb back up to the spot. And you have another amazing title run. What was that like for you?
It was hard. Very confusing time of just like, I really didn't have any idea what was happening or what was going on. And everything just happened so quickly. even being out in the ring, it just happened so quickly. And of course, the first thing that I thought of was my parents were there. And I'm like, gosh, I wonder what they're thinking right now. And but it was hard, especially going into SummerSlam, and I felt like, okay, I'm doing everything right. I just won this title from main eventing WrestleMania. We won an ESPY. We got recognized in the world of sports off of that match, and then I just lose the title in 26 seconds. So it's this thing of like, if you feel like you're doing everything right, and then now this happens, what am I supposed to do? So your perspective kind of gets messed up a little bit. But my husband and John Cena were the ones that really pulled me aside and really just gave me the gems of like fixing my perspective. And I just saw it as, this is what it is, but I'm going to show everyone that the title doesn't make Bianca Belair. I make the title. And I'm going to show everyone who I am without the title, that I am the EST WWE. And yes, Becky Lynch came out, but you're not going to forget about me. It's not going to be this thing where Becky Lynch came out and everybody's just, woo, Becky Lynch, and let's push Bianca to the side. No, I'm here. I made my statement and I'm not leaving. So it was really cool to go online and see all the support from everyone. And I wasn't sure afterwards what was going to happen. I didn't know if people were going to just be so excited about Becky and forget about me. But then when I went online, and it was like, oh, did this backfire? I don't know. Was this supposed to happen? I don't know, but this is where it is now. So it was hard, but looking back now, like I said, like you said, every big moment isn't a happy moment. But the most talked about moment at SummerSlam had my name in it, and that moment could not have happened without my name. So that's how I see it. And having to climb back to the top and I had to beat every woman on the Raw Women's roster and win an Elimination Chamber and fight my way back to WrestleMania and make it full circle and make it right. It was not easy. And it were some people that weren't for it. But all I could say is once WrestleMania happened, everybody was for it.
Yo, was that climb more difficult the second time around?
Yeah, definitely. It definitely was. SummerSlam, from SummerSlam to WrestleMania, it felt so long, and it felt like I didn't know what the end game was. And is this going to work out? Is this going to be all worth it? But I just kept pushing forward. So it was really hard because it was just this limbo of like, I don't know what's going on. Like, are my fans going to continue to ride with me and have faith in me? And they did. So it was hard, but I will say that everything happens for a reason. And I use SummerSlam as like, listen, you can do everything right that you think is right in life. Bad things are going to happen, but you don't just go and crawl into a corner and give up. You keep going and you push through, and you got to make people, make a statement and make people make it so that you cannot be ignored. And I feel like that's what I've done.
Dude, I hate to keep talking about 37, but Dave Meltzer, are you familiar with Dave Meltzer and his star ratings?
I am.
I wrote this in the piece. Your match at WrestleMania 37 got 4 stars.
Yeah.
Which I thought was, the joke is if it was in the Tokyo Dome, we would have got 7 stars.
7 stars.
But I know you don't look at, this one man's opinion. These things don't validate you. But it seems like every time that there's something that might feel against you, SummerSlam, the star rating, everybody rallies behind you.
Mm-hmm.
Is that even more empowering than just having people having your back just because of who you are? Now it's like when there's adversity, we're still there for you.
Oh, yeah. That means more than anything. And I think that, that's what's important to me. And I think that that's why, I do have my title reigns. And when I am in the ring, I feel like I'm not by myself. And it's not just about me. It's about everybody else, because everybody rides for me and I love it, and I feel like sometimes I don't even have to say anything. My fans going to say it for me. And sometimes it's people that aren't even fans, but they're like, listen, like, respect is respect. And that's just what it is. So it definitely is validation. I'd rather, see my fans ride for me, because that means more to me what my fans think than anything else. So, yeah.
You are huge amongst a very specific set of fans, and that is young women. And young Black women especially. Like, my daughter, loves you forever. But we were heavy into NXT. So if you ever lose, my daughter's upset for a week. But really, we see these Halloween costumes, and young girls go to the shows dressed like you. They have the glasses, and and the lips all over. And like, you're such a huge role model to them. What is that like for you? And is that something that you've kind of always strived for from the beginning? Or is that something you were kind of like shocked to see? Like, wow, my impact with the younger generation.
I wouldn't say it's necessarily something that I was striving for in the beginning. I was just more so focused on bringing my full self to the table and being unapologetically me and not hiding one part of myself to present the other part of myself. Like, this is me and this is who I am. And just hoping that would inspire other people to do the same thing. But, you know, seeing little girls dressed like me, you know, my brother actually called me, I think, right after Hell in a Cell. He was like, look, he was like, B, I just got a question for you. Like, what does it feel like when you see like little girls dressed like you? And I was just like, it's hard to describe. It's not something that I can put into words. It's just, it's an amazing feeling, but it's not like a ego boost. That's not what I get from it. It's more of, you know, I just know what my role models did for me and how much they meant to me and how much they inspired me. So to know that I'm doing the same thing, that just is always in the back of my mind and actually in the front of my mind for my perspective when I'm out there, knowing that I'm inspiring little girls, and not just little girls, but a lot of people. Like
grown women,
and it's inside and outside of the ring. I think that's what's most important to me. I have people come up to me saying like, I just enrolled back into school because you talk about being the absolute best version of yourself and just starting. That's the hardest part. Or people come up to me and say, I just started working out again because of you. So it's really cool to know that I'm inspiring people inside and outside the ring and that it transcends across like ages, genders, races. It doesn't matter, but it's an amazing feeling. It's just hard to describe, you know? It's hard to put into words.
I'm inspired by Montez's 8-pack every day. Yo, back in the gym.
Speaking of that, first of all, you call your husband Kenneth at home. You don't call him Montez.
I can't. I have to, it's either Babe or Ken or Kenneth. I can't do it.
Okay. Your husband's put on some muscle lately.
He has.
Now that's why, okay, because you know we don't seen it on TV and you know at being at home we call it like that Vince McMahon championship muscle. Like that's that world championship muscle. What has your husband been doing? Because this dude is looking,
man, just rocking Hoochie Daddy shorts all day now.
Like, always got the Hoochie Daddy shorts on.
Thighs just popping out.
Listen, his little legs used to be shaped like the number 11. Now they getting chunky. You know, he's always like, my legs are so skinny. I'm like, babe, I love your little skinny legs. But no, they getting a little thick. He been putting on weight. He's eating. He has an alarm set on his phone for every 2 hours. So he eats every 2 hours. He's eating like 2-3 meals at a time, drinking all this protein, and he's just like we always go to the gym together. But we've been going to the gym like extra hard together. And I've been trying to gain weight ever since I was in NXT. I've been trying to get back in the 160s, and I finally am. I'm back in the 160s, and it's because I'm eating with him and working out with him. But he's been super focused. Like even 2 weeks ago, we were at Raw, and after Raw, he's like, "You want to go to the gym?" I'm like, "Let's go." So like we're in the gym at like 1:00 in the morning before we have to catch our flight. So he's been going hard. I'm just excited for him. Like I just see so much potential in him. And, you know, even when The Rock came out and made the post about him and I'm like I saw it before him and I'm over there freaking out. And I'm like, see, I told you, like, I see it in you. The Rock see it in you. Like, you got to see it in you. And so, you know, I know he sees it in himself and I'm just so excited for the potential, like for his future. Like he's going to be, man, I'm excited for the future in WWE for Montez Ford. He's going to be one of the top stars in the future. I'm putting it out there.
100%. I need a cup, though.
I know, right? So here's one.
Going.
WrestleMania 37, going to 2 black women main event.
Mm-hmm.
A year later, you're facing Becky. But there's also a picture that you posted where there's 3 black women with world championships. In the rival promotion that we won't necessarily say who they are, but you know what I'm talking about, they have a black women's champion. I'm not saying that you've been necessarily the catalyst for the game change, but so much has changed since the pandemic that it's not just like, oh my God, we finally got a black champion. We expect this now.
Yeah.
How do you feel like when you see it again, the woman across the street, she's a champion. there was 3 champions in that picture. We couldn't see this 10 years ago. It never happened. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel like this is what it's supposed to be. I love Black excellence, and I feel like even in NXT, I was always talking about Black excellence, and then even with Kofi winning, it was always Black excellence, and it was great, and we had to celebrate it because a lot of firsts were happening. But I'm so excited to where it's becoming the norm, where it's not a thing where when Black people excel, it's like Black excellence because it doesn't happen very often. When it happens, it's so special because it doesn't happen often. It's still special, but it's the norm now.
Right.
And so that's what I'm loving, that it's the norm. And like you said, it's becoming expected. And it's something that, I was talking with my husband, and he was talking about the significance of, WrestleMania with 2 Black females main event in WrestleMania. And he was saying how he was 30 years old at the time. He was like, that's my first time seeing as a 30-year-old man. But he said, but my daughter, I think she was 7 at the time. She was 7 years old and she saw that, 7 years old. So imagine how that's going to start impacting people where they're not just seeing it for the first time at an older age, and they're not just seeing it one time, but they're seeing it over and over and over again. So, the dynamics changing and the environment's changing, and it's just going to continue that direction.
I have a question, because along these same lines, Andreas has to remind me of this constantly on this show, because so much discourse on Twitter and the internet is we don't have enough Black champions. We don't have, it happens too few and far between. And he has to constantly remind me that it happens for women all the time. Like, it's the norm for Black women to be champions. Multiple companies, multiple times, 3-time, 4-time, 5-time champions, Black women. Black men, and so many people are focused on the Black men who are champions, and they say we don't have Black champions. When no, there's a ton of Black women who are champions. Why is there that gap, you believe? Because I see this across all sports, where I cover boxing daily, and people are like, man, we need undisputed champions. Someone has all the belts. Like Clarissa Shields has done it twice. Mm-hmm. Women have been doing this forever. Katie Taylor's done it. They make all the fights, the best fight the best in women's boxing. But people are like, we don't have that. It's like, no, you don't have that men's boxing. Women do this. Mm-hmm. Why is there such a disconnect when people are championing for that, especially Black wrestlers, and saying Black wrestlers don't get to the top? I feel like Black women are at the top and shaping the culture. And is there still kind of that piece where you guys don't get enough credit for what's going on?
I will say Clarissa, I got to meet her and she's amazing. I got to meet her when I got to stand with Amanda Serrano. Yep. And I just love her vibe, and I love how she's so confident, and she's not afraid to say what she has to say. And she knows she's good, and she'll tell you she's good. She don't care, and she'll back it up. Yep. But no, I really feel like women are at the forefront of everything right now. And we're just proving that we can sell tickets and people do want to see this. And this is becoming the norm now, in WWE, where especially women, I think we main evented Raw for maybe 5 weeks straight or a month straight. And it's really cool. Every single live event that I'm doing on the weekends, on Saturdays and Sundays, for the most part, we're main eventing every single night. And so I think we're just showing that the women aren't just the future. The women are the now. And like you said, we are shaping the culture of everything. And as far as the men, I don't know. We had Kofi and we had Big E. And for me, I'm looking for it. I'll say it, Montez Ford.
Speak it into existence. Montez Ford's WWE champion.
It's happening. And I feel like even with them, that they are inspiring other, little boys, little Black boys to get into wrestling and into WWE. And the more that we see that, we're going to start seeing more Black male champions in the future as well.
I have to ask. You've been making cultural moments on social media, not just in wrestling. You got to meet Meg Thee Stallion. You won an ESPY. What has been your favorite moment outside of wrestling thus far? Because I don't. First, this is two-faced. One, could you have ever expected all this outside of wrestling? Did you ever think, I'm going to go meet Meg Thee Stallion?
Absolutely not.
It's crazy.
I never even imagined myself being a WWE superstar at one point. So everything that's coming with just being a WWE superstar inside the ring is amazing. And then everything on the outside is a plus. So every time I get these opportunities on the outside, I'm so excited and ecstatic to do all of these things. And, for me, getting to perform at Rolling Loud was one of like the dopest things I've ever done. Even before I found out that my husband and I, before we found out that we were going to be able to perform there, we were looking for tickets because we were just trying to go. And then we got the phone calls like, hey, you guys want to go to Rolling Loud? I'm like, yeah, we were trying to go, but no, not to go to like actually have a match. I'm like, what do you mean? Like have a match on the same stage as like our favorite artists? Yeah, let's do it. So to go out there, I felt like both of my worlds were colliding with the culture and with wrestling, and I was able to just bring both of my worlds together and celebrate that. So Rolling Loud, and then getting to meet Meg Thee Stallion. We were in the same city at the same time.
Did she teach you how to twerk?
Listen, I'll take some twerk lessons from her. I got the knees for it, so I know I can get low with her. I can get down low, but I need to get a couple of tips from her. But no, it was really quick. She's so cool, and like the few minutes that we got to meet, and she's like a real stallion in real life. Like she's so beautiful, her body, her personality, like it was amazing to meet her.
I feel like that's a great tag team partner. Can we work something up for this?
I'll take Meg in my corner any day.
I feel like she could pull off some moves.
She definitely could.
Logan Paul just got signed.
4 weeks in a PC and she's doing a Poison Rana. I promise you this. Like she's crazy athletic.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you and Jade Cargill, when you look at someone like that who is doing it, because there wouldn't be. I'm not going to say that you busted the door open for them all, but let's just be honest, right? Like, you have opened doors for a lot of these women to wrestle, to even have the opportunity to be thought about at the top. I don't want you to call yourself a pioneer for this because there's been other women like Jacqueline before that. Mm-hmm. But do you accept this responsibility now that you're not only carrying Black women, Black culture, yourself, women in general to the main? Is that now a responsibility that you have?
I mean, yeah, definitely. I feel like I accept that responsibility. Like you said, it's been women that have come before me and paved the way before me, and I made sure to always talk about that, even when being the first Black woman to main event WrestleMania. That could have been anyone before me, right. But it was me, and I was able to do that because of what they did before me and open those doors for me. So, I mean, I definitely accept that responsibility. I think that representation is so important. I always say that representation is not a request, it's a requirement. It's a quote that I always repeat, and I really believe in, because representation just really shows you like what your place is kind of in this world and how big and far you could dream. And I always say, when you see someone doing something that you want to do, it lets you know that you can do that. But if there's something that you want to do and you don't see someone doing it, then you become that person and you open those doors for everyone else to come through. And, the more representation that we can have, the better. Because like at the same time, I am a Black woman, but, Black people, we're not a monolith. We all are Black in our own way, and we all present something different. So there might be something that another Black female wrestler brings to the table that I don't bring to the table, where another Black person can turn on the TV screen and relate to them in a different way than they can relate to me. So it's the more representation that we can have, the better. If I can be someone that can inspire other people to join and see that this is a possibility, and maybe this is being a WWE superstar was never on their radar, and now it is. Great. Even being a college athlete in track and field, and now coming into WWE and not having any wrestling experience, with our new NIL program, I'm all for that, because I'm a collegiate athlete, a former collegiate athlete that didn't have any experience, and I've had so much success. So I think now there's a lot more collegiate athletes that now look and say, oh, I never thought about this. Maybe I can do this too. So I'm all for it.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because, at the level you are and being champion, you look around, Becky Lynch, independent wrestler, all over the world. Bayley, independent wrestling background. You came just into the PC, just didn't go to any indies, didn't travel the circuits or anything. You came from a different sport into professional wrestling, had to learn everything blank slate.
Yeah.
How hard was that for you? And I think a lot of people kind of lose track of kind of even what NXT currently is, because there's not a lot of independent wrestlers down there. But I try to mention this all the time. You look at the top of the card, some of our favorite wrestlers weren't independent people. Shout out to E. Big E's my dude, like college lineman came in, and today's one of the best workers in the world.
Yeah.
So how hard was it for you to kind of acclimate? And then who helped you when you came in? Who were people that you looked up to?
Yeah, it was difficult and overwhelming sometimes, coming in and not having any wrestling experience. And, I remember after my second tryout, I got pulled aside and they told me it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when we bring you in. So I already knew that I was going to get hired. I just had to wait for the phone call. And I was at the airport and I was sitting across from a girl and a guy that had just came from the tryout. And she turned her phone over and it was all stickers of WWE superstars. And she was talking about how she dreamed of being a wrestler her whole life. And meanwhile, I'm the person that they told they were going to hire. And so I'm like, wow, am I still in this person's dream? And so I knew how big this opportunity was when I came into WWE. And so I threw myself fully into it. I knew there's so many people that want to be in this position that I'm in. And I never even dreamed of being a WWE superstar. But now that I am, this is all I want to be. And so for so long in NXT, I was constantly trying to prove myself and prove that I belong there. And I was just honest. I didn't want to get embarrassed with trying to pretend like I knew what I was doing or I knew the history of the business and then people, getting exposed. So I walked in listen, I don't know anything. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm here to learn and teach me. And I'm here to learn. And so I threw myself fully into it. I quit doing CrossFit. I was like, if I want to be good at WWE and perfect my craft, I have to only do this. And so I was constantly trying to prove myself. And I feel like that's where I'm an overachiever even to this day and dealing with imposter syndrome. But my husband helped me so much because coming in, it's how do I learn the history of the business? And they're like, well, watch all the WrestleManias. And I would watch them, but then I'm like, but I'm just watching a match. I don't know the backstory. I don't know the feud. And a lot of times that's what makes the match. So my husband wasn't one that would sit down and be like, this is who this person is. This is what happened. Because he's watched since he was a kid. I mean, he's another person that didn't have any wrestling experience either. But he's watched since he was a kid. So he helped me. My coach, Sarah Amato, she helped me so much with teaching me. She taught me my first headlock and wrist lock. So it was difficult, but I was constantly trying to prove that I wanted this and that I wanted to be here and that I might not be from the indies and you might have grinded on the indies for all these years, but I was grinding too, just in another way. When I look back on my life, everything that I did in my athletic career led me into WWE. So it was just a grind in a different way. And so now I'm here and I'm still constantly trying to prove that I belong here.
I think you've proven that you belong. I think we're past that now. The championship was validation the first time you won it. But you mentioned this earlier. You don't really need it anymore. It's nice to have, and we love that you have it. But I think when we watched you walk out of that WrestleMania, the level of confidence was different. Because did you feel like you mentioned imposter syndrome? Was it after the WrestleMania 37 that you got past that, or when did that end for you?
I still deal with it now.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like when you have imposter syndrome, no matter how elite you are, when I remember having all these feelings, I didn't understand it. I thought I was just having problems with my self-esteem and self-confidence. And then I started reading up on it and the word imposter syndrome came up. And then I started reading how a lot of elite athletes and actors, actors that have won Oscars, they have imposter syndrome, but it comes from this space of feeling you're like a perfectionist and an overachiever, and you always want to perfect something before you move forward, and you always are scared am I good enough? And so I think that comes from not being from the wrestling background and just wanting to be a perfectionist and always wanting to come through and show up and show out. But for me, WrestleMania 37, I feel like I was walking in as a rookie. So I didn't really so much have imposter syndrome with WrestleMania 37 because I was just trying to prove that, yeah, I'm a rookie, but I'm good, But WrestleMania 38, walking in with Becky Lynch, I feel like SummerSlam did mess me up a little bit mentally. Of okay, I thought I was doing this right, but now I lost it. Am I not good enough? Do they not have faith in me? Am I not a good champion? And so I was constantly dealing with that. So walking into WrestleMania 38, I was very nervous. I thought I wouldn't be because I already main evented.
Right.
But I was very nervous. And then going up against Becky Lynch and then becoming champion after Becky Lynch and having to, follow, fill those shoes as she was his champion. So I feel like I still deal with it, but I have to continue to give myself affirmations, and I'm either moving forward or I'm not. So I'm just going to continue to move forward.
Before we get you out of here, we usually give talent flowers on this show. And I've been meaning to do this for a while because I've messaged you this, that you mean a lot to this culture and the people. And it's like, I got a niece who adores you. And when you won the championship, I could see her getting ready to cry. Because it wasn't just that you were a black woman, but you were a darker skinned woman as well. And to see the confidence, and she wants to talk like you. She wants to be like you. But for me, as a man who's watched wrestling his entire life, everything that you've done it right. And it's one thing that I appreciate more than anything else. I think the people who listen to this podcast, the people that watch you in Money in the Bank, it never felt like you were trying to be something that you weren't. And to be authentically black and unapologetically black, we're beyond that. I think what you've represented is something that we're all proud of. And I go back to that emotion at 37, and I felt it too. And having you on this podcast means the world to me. But watching you shine is where we have to give you your flowers because we know the journey's not done yet.
Yeah.
We know you still got more work to do. So we just want to say how much we appreciate you and what you mean, not to just black culture, not just black women, but to everybody. You have done it all the right way.
Thank you so much. That means so much.
It's great. Great to talk to you, and you're just so open and so honest. And to just speak to you in the midst of it. A lot of people, speak to people at the end. Books are written, documentaries are made, WWE, we all see like these docs, right? But like to speak to someone in the midst of it is special and it's different because this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
So, if you at the end, you like 15-time world champion, Bianca Belair, then it's just like, oh, cool. We talked to her like second time.
Right.
So no, it's great. Thank you so much. I feel like we get out of here on like a pretty cool note. I just want to ask like random stuff real quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
One dream opponent. You haven't wrestled yet. Who do you want to wrestle?
Oh, I'm so indecisive. My dream match is, you mean like legend or just anyone?
Anyone.
My dream match is Beth Phoenix because she's one of the first people that I started watching that I related to as far as like presenting herself like as a glamazon. She embraced her beauty, but also her strength and her muscles. And she was picking up 2 women at one time. And so Beth Phoenix.
You've done that.
I was about to say, can you do 3?
I've seen it.
I'm going to now do 3. I need a fatal 4-way so I can pick up 3 women. Maybe pin all 3 of them at the same time. Who knows?
Damn.
If
Hey,
you,
KOD 3 women?
I'm here for it.
Okay, all right.
All right, we do that.
if you and your husband had to tag, what would be your finisher?
We would, let's see, how can we make this work? We would do I don't know.
You're going to try to
Can I do the
combine the KOD into a frog splash?
into a frog splash? I mean, that's the only way. That's the only right way to do it, right?
Oh my God.
Vicious.
I'm interested. That's something I want to see. In 5 years, not in the ring excluded, non WWE related.
Yeah.
What's something you want to do? One goal outside of the ring. What's one thing you want to achieve in the next 5
You can't
years?
have me pick one thing because, I'm someone who's all over the place. I want to do it all. Let's see. I want to write a children's book. I want to eventually write a book about my life. I don't know if the time will be in 5 years. Small things. I want to go to the BET Awards.
We can make that happen. I used to work for
about that
BET.
yesterday.
I was trying to go this year, but we had a live event.
With Puff?
And I want to, outside of wrestling, I want to get into movies. I want to, maybe one day, I always say like a dream come true would be to be in a movie with The Rock or John Cena. They're the ones that are really paving the way outside in Hollywood, and everybody's like they set that blueprint. Everybody's trying to follow what they're doing. So that would be really cool.
I mean,
Can you be Float Joe?
No,
Like-
I was about to say,
Like, I feel like you
a
have that role
biopic with like
tomorrow.
Gail Devers.
Yeah.
Like-
Listen, in high school when
I
I was the hurdler, I had the long nails. I mean, I had the when you go get your nails done. I don't know if y'all know.
Yeah,
But when you
yeah.
go get your nails done, they put the tip on.
Yeah.
I wouldn't let them cut them. And then I had one nail that was always like a money nail. I had another nail that was blinged out. Remind you, this was like in 2004 and 5 and 6.
I feel like that's fitting for the time.
Now that it's coming back, but back then they weren't doing that. After like Gail Devers and I had a nail that would swirl, and I had a nail that was like a lightning bolt. So
So you need to be in the remake of BAPS. Like, so,
that's my favorite movie. That is my favorite. BAPS. My favorite movies are BAPS, All About the Benjamins, and another movie called Beyond the Lights. But BAPS is my favorite movie. I love BAPS. Yeah.
I learn something new every day.
I love BAPS.
We need to do a remake of BAPS with Bianca. I don't know who would be your co-star in a remake of BAPS.
Man.
oh man, somebody. that
Which
can cook.
which
She was
character
throwing
would I
down.
play though?
You'd be Hallie.
Oh, you
Would I be
definitely
Halle Berry?
Yeah.
Well, we can't replace because she passed away. We can't replace.
Oh,
so we
yeah.
really can't. We can't replace her. There's no replacing her.
No, y'all,
So-
they do.
Like,
you,
y'all the
you be
children.
kids.
Yeah, you be the
y'all
children.
always the kids.
Okay, we can be the kids, but
All right, Hallie,
there's
y'all
no.
auntie. Is she
I'm
around
not,
still?
I'm not always into like the remakes of the classics. I'd be like, let's just leave the classics alone.
But
not remake
sometimes,
it.
look, you're not going to turn down the BAPS remake.
I mean, definitely not.
All right then. Wait, but speaking of movies, if Disney said, "Hey man, we need Storm,"
Let's do it.
all right,
Let's make it
just want to
happen.
make sure.
I mean,
Storm.
they signed my check,
If
so
we do
like we gotta make a
Storm,
call.
or if we do they do like a real life Rapunzel, what about that?
I like it.
I mean, it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I might not be able to sing. I mean, I can if they want me to. I can't promise it'll sound good, but
That's what the studio's for.
Yeah, there's enough auto tune in this world to do anything.
We just seen J-Lo.
Yeah, isn't like the Chloe and Haley?
I'm
chick?
sorry.
The Chloe
I
and
love
Haley chick is
J-Lo.
like a Little Mermaid now, right?
yes,
Yeah, you're right in there.
yes.
Rapunzel,
Did you see her? Did you see Chloe's performance at the BET Awards?
I did. Listen,
In her dress, she looked amazing.
I'll go on record. I'm not the biggest Beyonce fan, right?
Uh,
And to me, Chloe's doing like the Beyonce blueprint where she's just following the exact same thing. And I'm just like, yeah, I've seen it before. But
She's inspired.
she
She's
definitely
is. She's gonna make it her own.
I mean, somewhat. She's kind of like a Beyonce, like Megan Thee Stallion mashup right now. I don't know where she fits into it. But yeah, I'm not like the biggest Beyonce fan. Are you hyped for the new album?
yes, I love Beyonce.
Like she's just riding a horse for
Wait,
no
wait.
reason on the cover?
Yeah, and I'm buying the whole merch pack. And I don't even know what's in it. And I don't care.
Yo, that's what happened. That merch pack release, and people, I was like, it could be empty, and
it
it's gonna
doesn't
sell
matter.
out.
Exactly, it can be air. I mean, it's a box that has her name on it. I'm gonna buy it. And I'm not ashamed of it.
For you, I'll speak this into existence. Maybe not this year, but I promise you, Beyonce will walk you out at WrestleMania and you will have one of the greatest WrestleMania entrances ever.
I don't know if I would make it to the ring.
They would break her soul before she even made it to the ring.
I don't know if I would make it to the ring. But I mean, let's make it happen.
Yeah.
If we can make it happen, I don't know. That would be amazing.
They got
I mean,
time.
that would definitely, might.
It's hard to top that.
You got to retire after
Yeah.
that.
Exactly.
You gotta
That
call
might
it a
have
night.
to be like my last go around, my last year, because
That's it.
I wouldn't be able to top that.
That's a wrap.
No.
Ugh.
Not unless you're gonna bring Prince back from life, have Prince bring me out. I
They
don't
got
know.
a hologram.
Oh, Bianca,
Oh, no.
it's been great.
We do this
We
all
appreciate that because we'll be here all day talking about BAPS remakes. That is now the highlight of this podcast because it was nothing I would have ever expected. But we're here now.
Yeah.
We're here now. Bianca, thank you so much for being here. I've been waiting a long time to have this conversation. Appreciate everything that you've done. By the time people listen to this, Money in the Bank can happen. We are assuming that you will still be champion because that's what we do here. Because people that show up on the show
Oh, she
win.
will. Yeah.
We put it out there.
And you tell people at WWE, I got my eye on them for SummerSlam. Not 2 years in a row. This ain't happening. We
No.
getting through SummerSlam. this
We
year.
in Vegas again. I have a little PTSD from being in Vegas. I'm like, listen, I'm not about to.
We watching
I
your
am
back.
not about to underestimate Carmella because I'm not getting caught slipping in Vegas again.
Not again.
And Carmella again. Like, what is this?
Exactly. So Becky better stay in that ladder match. And I don't know if the ladder match is going to be before my match, and if she wins, that ladder match is before my match, I'm going to pin Carmella 1, 2, 3, grab my title, and I'm running. I am getting out of there. I'm not even. I'm going back. I'm getting on the plane. I'm going back home. I'm not even going to Raw.
No, it's amazing. Thank you for joining us. Everyone, thank you for watching. It's been amazing. Bianca Belair is like the best, right? So make this quick. Thank you to Blue Wire Studios, everyone here at the Wynn Resort in Vegas, everyone in the booth. Producer Cole, Bebe, Antoine, ones and twos, Brian, making us look pretty as always in the booth. You can follow us on social media at Corner Podcast _ on Twitter, at Corner Club for Life on Instagram. Check out our YouTube where you can see this entire show. You can see Bianca, the fit, the hair.
Always fresh.
You can't see the kicks. The kicks are dope as well. Put it on the table.
Oh, wait, that's the bottom. Wait,
yeah. Cole.
There we go.
There we go. Look how just fly with the fit. We appreciate you all. Until next time, we're out.
Peace.
On the